bull crap. The
Yeah.
government does not create jobs. I mean, obviously they hire people, but as it relates to the private sector and growth of the economy, all the government can do is get the hell out of the way through tax structure, through structure as it relates to not over regulating companies. And what are we seeing now? Industries. I mean, Obama trying to kill the coal industry, taxing people to death. Democrats never saw a tax they didn't like. But exactly right. The government's job is to get the hell out of the way. But again, I will go back and say, as I said before, it is incumbent upon this government, as expressed by the founding fathers, that to an extent, I mean, paraphrasing them, equal opportunity for all. And I believe in my heart, Watson, that we do have that here. I just believe it.
Yeah. See, and so what we've got to get out, and what we've got to get out of minority America, whether you're black, you're Hispanic, whatever, uh, or who the liberal progressives have deemed as minorities and will basically fight for their causes, is the government owes me mentality.
And listen,
Because,
man, I'm
yeah.
sorry. No, go
I
ahead.
mean,
I'm sorry.
well,
It's
it's
your.
just the whole idea of they're saying that, okay, well, there's always these studies of women being underpaid and you're not getting this is right and this is not right. And everybody wants to level the playing field. Everybody wants to play the level. They want to level the playing field. But okay, so let's say let's look at that idea of do you think is there a feasible plan that could successfully level the playing field for Black America? If there was a plan, do you think that it's even feasible?
Before I answer that, let me touch back because I've been, for some reason, I'm in this to be fair mode or mood tonight. Obviously, a child born in an upper class neighborhood, and again, I don't care what color that child is, versus a child born in urban America has obviously a better chance in life. But I think the issue is not the color, but the systemic issues as it relates to those different neighborhoods. All right, so as it relates to leveling the playing field. Let me ask you a question, and then I will comment. In your mind, what does that mean?
You know, honestly, I've heard the term, and so I'm only repeating the term that was shared with me. And
Right.
basically, from what I grab or what I interpret, what was said to me when they said I mean, level the playing field, was to basically make certain that blacks have the same opportunities for success that whites would have. That
Right.
and because
People of all colors, right?
and yeah, and people of all colors. Yeah, exactly. And the problem is there's the assumption. We had a young man on the radio station last night who was basically arguing pretty much that the blacks don't have an opportunity because of the fact that they don't control the industry, they don't control the money, they don't control the money flow, and it's only white America's fault because they're hoarding all the money, and that blacks don't have enough money to turn around and start investing and trying to get
Okay.
on the playing
You
field.
know, and you and I both know that's so completely ridiculous that it hardly bears discussing. But people that get hired by corporations, again, regardless of color, if they succeed, if they move up, the proverbial ladder, they don't control the money either. They just work hard or whatever have you. Listen, gosh, it's been a long time ago because I've been out of the financial services industry for quite a while. But there was it doesn't matter, but Boston, I think. A bunch of us went to Boston to a couple of days seminar, and there was a hired consultant whose color shall go nameless. She had cornrow hair, just to kind of set the set the
She was
stage.
Irish.
Yes, but
Okay.
she red cornrow hair, by the way. But anyway, uh, it was a 2 day thing about leveling the playing field.
Mm,
And again, I ask you because I'm always interested in this term. Again, what the hell does that mean? And I think I have to continue to go back to the bigotry of low expectations to suggest to anyone, black, orange, purple, again, whatever color you pick, the only way that anyone can succeed is if we have somehow lowered the standards of the level of acceptance. That to me, in and of itself, as it relates to color, is racist.
Agreed. It really is. And here's the thing about it, because there was another gentleman who was an older gentleman, an older black gentleman who was former military, former law enforcement, and he basically was trying to give this young man some information and move him in the right direction and get him to move away from a lot of the liberal progressive talking points.
Right.
And he even mentioned how that there's billions and billions of dollars that are spent every year by consumers, and then there's a large number of blacks that contribute. At least 1,000 blacks contribute to those billions and billions that are being spent. The problem that we were trying to get this young man to understand is that many of them are investing their money in things that do not have lasting value. You people look at you, you say you have a 401k or you have some kind of mutual savings or whatever. They think that you're crazy to have this, but you know what? But we can spend $5,000 on spinning rims. We can put gold in our mouth around our necks, and you know it's annoying because there is capital in Black America. It's just where they're investing it doesn't have any lasting value, but it appears as though that falls on the shoulders of white America. So that's why when I hear level the playing field, sometimes I hear there is the blame again. Listen to that clip last week from Martin Luther King, where he talked about the whole idea is that they gave the white Europeans farmlands, they let them build schools on the farmlands, they taught them how to be better farmers. So a lot of people will say, well, in the black neighborhoods, in the ghettos, and wherever, we were denied the proper education to understand how we manage our monies and how do we become successful like the white man.
Right.
And I struggle with that, Mike, because of the fact that what, we've been long removed since the plantation days. We've been long removed even since the initial ghetto days.
Well, since the early
And
60s, man.
exactly.
And therein lies the issue. Look, level the playing field when you go back to, well, obviously slavery, you go back to Jim Crow, go back to what happened up until, the early to mid 60s in the South. Absolutely. But here's my question to you. And you and I've talked about this. You and I've talked about this before. Why is it that, again, you know the list: Herman Cain, Allen West, Clarence Thomas, even someone, a moderate conservative like Condi Rice, I mean, on down the list, J.C. Watts. Why is it whenever these people suggest to blacks, here's the real story, here's what you should do, here's how you should take responsibility for yourself? Why is it, man, that those people are condemned, are chastised because they're not sticking with the narrative?
And that's it. And the problem is, attached to that narrative is the biggest seller for most Americans around not just around the world, but I mean in America, but around the world. The victimization. The victimhood
Exactly.
card. The victimhood card is so appealing because that means that all I have to do is have my hand out. And that means that I'm not required to put my hand to the plow and do anything because I'm too weak, I'm too hurt, I'm too broken to
And
do
it's
anything.
easier to blame it on someone else.
Exactly. And it's easier to blame it on somebody else. And the worst part about it is that you look, I mean, and the people that you mentioned were successful blacks. You have Carson, successful in his in
Doctor,
the in the, yeah, Dr. Carson, successful in his, and not just doctor on paper, but doctor in practice. So it
and
shows you that the opportunities are there.
you know what, man? I have a brother-in-law. This guy drove cabs most of his life. He's white, by the way. He has the same mentality. I talked earlier about, the zero sum game versus the abundant mentality. He feels exactly the same. And, I've said this several times on your show. It doesn't matter what color you are, it's a mindset. And I think the absolute travesty of the Obama administration, and I would just say Obama, but you go down to Eric, my people holder as well, is they have almost justified that mentality every opportunity they've had. This guy has set race relations back in this country. I don't know how many years. Just look at the polls, and it's substantiated.
Oh, it is horrible because of the fact that, it's so, we look at what happened, all the protests, all the chanting, everything that's going on. It's not only, and here's the thing about it. What do we want? Cops. When do we want them? Do we want them dead? And honestly, it's I see not just as cops, but whites. Right now the targets are police officers, but soon it's going to be whites.
You know
Well,
what?
no, they have been targets for the
I've
longest
never
time.
heard anybody make that connect those dots like you just did, but I think that's brilliant, man. Because you're right. It's almost as if in that chant, what do we want? Cops. How do we want them dead? I've never heard anybody make that connection, but you're right. You're right. You're not white, but you're right.
Yeah.
It's as if cops is code for whites.
Cops is code for whites, and you would never see anything like this. You would never see anything like this. We had riots, back in the last century, but in a time when, remember, the president said after the Michael Brown jury announcement that we've come a long way in racial relationships. I mean, race relations. And I had to laugh because I'm like, you're the biggest proponent who's actually killing race relations right now because of the fact that you're stoking the flames. I said this last night, Mike, and this is what I wholeheartedly believe. Is his silence when there's black on white crime, and he's silent about it. When he's silent about the injustices that are happening at the hands of black people, and telling people to be quiet about it, or even just he'll go over and he'll coddle about black family who's mourning rather than just coddling Americans in general. I feel like he's poking the bear.
Or he is. And
And
you know
he's
what
trying. Go ahead.
listen, the travesty to Black America, and that's monolithic, and I don't like that any more than I like white America. And we talk about that later.
Agreed.
But is to urban Black America. Let's just use that for time's sake, because I know we're running out of time at the bottom of this hour. Um, it's this incendiary commentary is without warrant, but they buy into it. Those who burn this bitch down, and I can't breathe, and hands up, don't shoot. This is doing a great disservice to a lot of Black America, and again, I think it's terrible.
Oh, I agree. I agree because of the fact that just like what the president's doing to tear down the rebuilding process, not just for blacks, but then you have the likes of like Sandra Fluke, who basically that a lot of women can't stand her because they've
Sure.
she's presented women as weak or oversexed. Or undersexed or whatever it is, but she's not the representation for your average woman. Neither are the likes of Sharpton and Jackson. But it's really sad because of the fact that they these are the people that are put out in the forefront. And even what's more sad too, is that Black America, and I hate the term as well, is how they can be so supportive of the liberal progressives and the Democratic Party and the very liberals who control the media, who, when you look at the message, Mike, that the liberal media portrays about Black people. They're always in the ghettos, they're always in the hood, and they have the worst English. But
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
that's the message that they're sending out, but they're complaining and saying that it's Republicans
You
and
got
the
it,
Tea
man.
Party. It's
Yeah.
annoying. Brother, can you stay in over the hard break because
I'll hang around just for you, man.
much appreciated. Everyone, please, you have the opportunity to call in at 412-567-6879. Just hang put. We're about to go to a commercial, and we'll talk to you on the flip side.